Hey, Symmetry Nation. My name is Paul Bein, and man, I am so happy to be here. I'm directed George and Janet Matthews, part of the Kevin Purdy Lynn Watkins organization. And I don't know about you, but I'm pretty fired up. And we have a tradition in our organization. We're going to start with a little bit of some rhythm. Here you go. It's all right. You can stand up.
Rejoices as a party over here, a party over there. Wave your hands in the air, shake the dairy, yeah. These three words when you're getting busy. Whoop, there it is, hit me.
Good morning, everybody. If you're not fired up, man, you have to get some coffee at this point. So, like I said, my name is Paul Bein, and I am. It's what an incredible blessing to have this opportunity to start everyone's week off. Monday. Well, some of you maybe Monday morning, Monday afternoon. I am so grateful for the owners creating such an amazing company that allows us to be the better version of ourselves and just be able to be comfortable who we are and strive for so much greatness. And I'm joined on this call with Misty Hutton, and I had a pleasure to meet her just a little over a year ago, and to watch her progress and journey. Like I said, I'm a national director, and Misty is one of our newest agency owners, and I'm going to let her share a story a little bit. And but just to let you know, she was a top producer. She did everything she needed to do, and last month she broke out as agency owner. I couldn't be more proud and excited. We have a thing in the Bein agency. It's the Bein Ohana agency, and with my Hawaiian background, it's we are family, and this is a great culture. And I'm going to keep on talking, babbling. Misty, go ahead. I want to, most people want to hear from you, and how amazing your journey has been. Introduce yourself, girl.
Everybody, my name is Misty Hutton. I'm direct to Paul Bein, George and Janet Matthews, Kevin Purdy in the Lynn Watkins hierarchy. I am blessed and so thankful for our company to ask us to be on the sales training today. When the email came through, Paul and I were talking. I'm like, what are we going to teach about sales? But it's pretty cool to be on here with all you guys. So appreciate it. I started here November 2020. I have a sales background, but I am married. We have 5 children and real busy household, chickens and guinea pigs and bearded dragons and cats and dogs and everything. So, but I kind of lost myself, and the kids were home in 2020 because of COVID, and I got stuck being at home, just doing the same old day in and day out stuff. And I kind of got into like a little depression, and I finally figured out that I wanted something more. Like I could be more to this world than just sitting at home washing dishes. And so I found the Matthews Agency on ZipRecruiter ad, and I never looked back. I love it here with Symmetry. I just made agency owner last year, allowing us to
And obviously, we can spend 30 minutes about all the amazing things that has progressed since we've been here, and and just touch a little bit more. Is that I'm internally grateful for the opportunity that I was able to be introduced to the Matthews, and how this company has grown me, and I'm so excited that I'm chasing the better version of myself 5 years down the road, and I'm excited about that journey, and the greater purpose that this company has provided for me, and that's what drives me every morning. But which is kind of a good lead in, because our title was who, what, where, when, and how. But what about the why, right? What about the why? And just some people there's a great book, Start with Why. And one of the things is that I, when I came here, and I'm going to have Misty share stories, I had to identify what my why is. And I knew financially, the income opportunity is definitely here, but it had to be more than that, because I knew on my past background, I was fortunate enough to earn seven figures, is that it had to be more than that. And what gets you up in the morning, what gets you excited, and here we are, and we have the opportunity to bless so many people. And you know, and Missy, we talk quite a bit all the time. I mean, a couple times a day. And you're a top producer, and I remember in your journey that how your why evolved. Would you like to share a little bit how what that looked like for you, and how that progressed to who you are? Because I think that's well, not I think I know that's where how you evolved to that point, and now how you're a tremendous asset to the organization, the team, but just your team members and other individuals that learn so much from you.
I have a couple different pivot points in my time here. The first one was with my personal production, and I learned to bring out the why with my clients. And it's so important because mortgage protection, life insurance, it's an emotional sale. But if you bring out that why, then it pulls in that emotion, and it makes it easier for them to vision the other person not being there, or their beneficiary not being there. So it's a better um not, I wouldn't say sale, but you're helping the families out a lot better. And one of the pivot points that happened to me was I realized that I'm not against my clients. I ultimately changed my way of talking to them. It's myself and my clients kind of against the carriers, and we're not, against it, but I'm on their side. Like, I am an advocate for them. And once I realized that, it made it so much easier and a simple process to walk them through and show them the options. And I consider my clients my family as well. And so if I'm talking to my grandparents, that's how I treat my clients. And we just find a solution to their problem. So that's with my clients and the mortgage protection. But with another pivot was what changed my why is when I decided to build a team and had some agents in my downline, and seeing them grow and seeing what their why is. And so now it all kind of works in the same way. I'm bringing out the why to my clients, and I'm bringing out the why from my agents too. And just being on the same page with everybody and being a family with everybody makes everybody succeed and grow. So those are my two turning points of the clients and my agents.
And that's awesome, and I appreciate you sharing that. And just to put some content behind it, I mean, some when you talk to new people, and even the individuals just starting up, and um, you ran your own race, and what's give me a little bit of timeline. How long you've been here. We'll kind of work backwards. You were agency owner, and then you became top producer, and then you had some aha moments during that growth. And obviously, when you came here, you were not the top producer, and you still had to grow.
Yeah, so I started November 2020, and I could only really do part-time just because of the kids. And I was a constant Uber driver driving all the kids around. But going to all of our conference calls that we had last year, I'm sorry, our corporate events, and traveling to those, associating with everybody made me grow as a person and made me learn different nuggets from everybody, all the leaders that I saw. And so the first 8 months, I was only able to work part-time here. And when my 16-year-old got her license, I was able to really put in full-time effort. And I just focused on smaller goals, started hitting those goals, had great months. And then I wanted to build my agency and help other agents see this opportunity that they can help their family. And so I started building my team, and about 6 months later, I was on I should say 3 months later, I started my AO run and made agency owner last year or last month, which was February.
Tell me a little bit about, you kind of, I wouldn't say accident, but you hit top producer by accident, meaning that you're chasing something. I mean, we were having those conversations, because your production, your goal was to do maybe about 7,500 in a month. And I have to commend you. You were a good student. At that time we didn't have Quilty University, but you dug into the scripts. You were on all the dial teams, and you just were learning by association in that aspect. But there was one pivoting point that changed you when you increased your production, and then you actually, you were chasing something, maybe a little pin, and then you hit top producer based on that consistency. Could you share a little bit about that?
Yes, I wasn't really great with long-term goals. I mean, yes, but I had to focus on more short goals. And you and I had a conversation and one day, and you're like, instead of focusing on the month, why don't you just focus on the week? Can you do 5,000 a week? I'm like, yeah, sure, I can try for that. So I just put my head down, started just focusing on putting in my dials, my running my appointments. And I was trying to hit that 5,000 a week. I started hitting it. And then with the Matthews, they had this pin you can get if you hit 10,000 a week. And so then I started going after that, and I'd miss it for like a whole month. I missed like 8,900, 7,800 a week, 9,500 in a week. And by the end of the month, George Matthews calls me and he's like, Misty, stellar month. You're at 37,000. And I picked my head up kind of because I was in a work cloud, and I'm like, holy cow, I'm at 37,000 for the month. Like I would have never pictured this 6 months ago, 1 month ago. And, those were the turning points in my time. And by the next month, I did the same thing. I'm like, if I can do this 1 month in a row, I'm going to do it 2 months in a row, and I'm just going to continue on. And then that kind of raised my bar where what, my minimum production is. And I made top producer without even really realizing it.
Yeah, and I remember the story we were talking about that. Hey, you could do $20,000 in production in a month, and you didn't see that at that point. And but those little ahas, and then that those little achievements every week, you grew that confidence. But that was through to your benefit is that you had massive activity and constant correction, and that's one of things that we talk about a lot here is that you can have bad days, right? You can have bad weeks, but you'll never have a bad month if you have consistency in your activity. And you don't have to be the greatest script reader, you don't have to be the greatest at anything, but if you have consistency with that hard work, and you're a testament to that, the hard work and determination of pushing through, and like you said, your head was down, and you just focused on what you had to do week in and week out. And let's talk about that too, because you have your story. You got to feed a chicken, bearded dragons, 5 kids. How do you maintain that schedule to keep that kind of activity?
Definitely live by the calendar. So if you're new here listening, you have to live by your calendar. Get it set up. Everything goes on the calendar. All the kids' functions, choir concerts, plays, anything goes on the calendar. But dialing time goes on the calendar too. So you have to stick with a regimented dialing time. Saturday mornings, Friday evenings, Thursday evenings are a great time to call for me. I dial every day. If I get blown off on an appointment, I pick up the phone and make up that appointment, and I'll make 2 appointments. But it's constantly putting in the activity. And if you put in the activity, the appointments will come, and the more families you'll be able to protect and get in front of and help them solve solutions. Plus, then you can also, it's a great way, not only with the mortgage protection, but you can help them eliminate debt with debt-free life. I mean, it's a great program that we offer that not many people really talk about. And if you don't know about it, there's our debt-free life we have certified people in there. You can reach up to them and they'll help you. They'll take that appointment and close it for you. And, annuities, we have people in your upline that will do annuities. But there's so many products that you can offer to people, not just the mortgage protection. So we just have to learn how to tap into it, but it all starts on the phones. If you don't get in front of anybody, then you're not going to be able to have, the opportunity to help anybody.
Yeah, and that's so true. And I wanted to kind of, obviously the original conversation we had is, digging into those whys. And I think a lot of people would appreciate some nuggets in regards to, you have a couple conversations you know, from the initial contact to set an appointment, finding out, there's two types of whys. There's a surface why and then a little deeper why. And then, let's start there. What is, how, that's where that connection starts. Gathering all the information is important, but if we don't have that connection, then the probability of them making it to the next meeting, which is our appointment, is going to probably be pretty low. So could you speak on that and what that looks like for you, and how do you, because you have a high show ratio, and most of your appointments are phone appointments. They're not even Zoom appointments. So how's that work in your life?
My appointments are about a 95% over the phone. I do offer Zoom, absolutely, but most people choose to just do a regular phone call. So I'm fine with that. With bringing in the why, when I'm setting the appointment, I always ask, if something were to happen to you, who are you looking to protect with this coverage? And that gives them the opportunity to open up and say, well, my wife or my children. And, you can ask, oh, do your children live with you? How old are the children? And you kind of bring that in to the conversation. And then when you're running the appointment, you're also asking them, because now it's, 24 hours that went by from when you originally talked to them. And so, you bring in the children, the spouse, the significant other, whoever it may be. And so now you open it up to that and bringing in that person that they're trying to protect, because they're trying to protect somebody, whether it may be, I've had the family dog wants to be taken care of because there's no other beneficiary, or they bring it to a charity. But somebody always has a why, and it's just bringing that out. And, one thing that lets people open up to you is telling your story. So I know you, Paul, have a story. I personally don't have a story of a why. Everybody around me, thank you, God, that is living, but borrow somebody's. I borrow everybody I listen to. I write little notes and something that resonates with me. So even if it's not me, I'll tell the story. Oh, I have a fellow agent and they had this happen to them, or this, I'll tell them their story. And you always have the people kind of sit back and they're like, wow, that's great. And so if you can bring out their why with one of your whys, that just makes it so much stronger of an appointment. And you're again helping to protect them and offering them solutions.
Yeah, and you bring up a really good point too, is that, for everyone that's listening here, and some of you may already know this, is that even if you're part of Zoom calls and you're in meetings, I would not miss one of them, because there's so many times there's nuggets that are thrown out there that, I was 6 months into it, and I had my aha moments, and it just, you hear things 7 times, you have to hear it a couple more times, and it starts becoming part of your vocabulary, and you start sharing that with other individuals. And you're right. And when I don't share my why in the beginning when I'm setting my appointment, but I really want to dig deep when just on that appointment side of it is, what does that look like when you don't get home, if you don't make it home today? And then my next question following is that, so who are you most concerned about protecting? And it's about your voice and how you soften it and you have that conversation with them. And sometimes we get, I don't know, right? I don't have a why. Not married. It's a young guy. What's your conversation with that, Misty?
If it's a younger person, then
it's a younger person. They're young guy, military, 23 years old. He's bulletproof.
Well, definitely then you go with the living benefits.
Yeah.
So our carriers that we use offer living benefits, and that would protect them if they were to get hurt or sick. So I definitely will lead with the living benefits. But you can, if you're living, then you need protection. You know, however old you are, you can be 18 years old.
Yeah.
You know, children that pass away and the parents have to set up a GoFundMe.
Yeah.
You know, that's a horrible thing that you have to do. So, you know, small children's policies, Foresters, Mutual of Omaha, they offer the children's policies. They're $5 a month, but it could be a significant um, plus in somebody's life if a tragedy like that happens. Older people, our seniors, you know, I've had clients that they had life insurance their whole life while the kids were in school, and they let the term run out, and now they're 75 years old and they don't have any insurance for their significant other.
Yeah.
And
And
offer solutions to them too.
yeah, and I love that. And we have a lot of people that we run to that already have life insurance, and I'm like, life insurance is great if you die, but what happens if you don't? The medical bills that kill you alone in that situation. And I love the young guys. My response typically to that is, listen, this is your house. Why'd you buy a house in the first place? This is potentially, if something happens to you, this is what's a good part of your legacy. Wouldn't you want to leave that to someone? Well, I'll probably just leave it to my parents. Well, if anything, do you want to leave a financial burden to your family? And if you put it in perspective too, because we talk about this a lot in our morning huddle ups, is that people spend $25 for a cell phone insurance, but they won't protect that income producing ability for another $25. Sometimes it's out of perspective, and when we can have those conversations to put it back in perspective of what's important at that point, and pennies on the dollars. I mean, the conversation is you're leveraging insurance because you have lack of assets to protect you. And then when you build assets, if we have our debt-free life program, you can get out of debt, have more control over your finances, and then you can make different decisions. So I love that stuff. So you're in the house, how does that why look like when you're in the house?
Well, it all starts from setting the appointment. So when I'm setting the appointment, I'm asking them their why. I'm asking them again, who are they trying to protect with this coverage? I write it down. When I do have the conversation with them, whether it's on the phone or Zoom, again, I bring that up. And then I also, if it's if it's a husband and wife, I'll say, hey, Mary, if something were to happen to Joe tomorrow, what is your plan with the home? And I just kind of be quiet and let them talk to me and tell me their why. Well, I never really thought about it. And then I usually will say, well, most people, they don't think about it. It's a, hard subject to think about, but a lot of people will either stay in the home because they just moved there, they're never moving again. Some people definitely do not want to stay in the home. The house is too big, too many memories. They don't want the maintenance, all the chores they want to move in closer to children or grandkids. So I can offer options for both of them. We can do an equity protection where it protects their mortgage payments for 6 months, 12 months, 24 months, or we can do full mortgage payout or a big chunk of their mortgage, but it all gets entangled with the why.
Right.
If you're not asking the why, then you can't help these families. You're just kind of throwing numbers at them and not really giving them solutions to their problems.
Yeah, and really putting that in perspective is how many people you actually talk to have never really had that conversation. What it looks like if John's not here or Mary's not here, and that's the first time they're having those conversations. And sometimes we have to, but you have to have the courage to have those conversations with your clients if you're going to truly be an advocate, and just really roll up your sleeves and see where that goes with them. And you brought up a good point too, is when we talk about this a lot, is that, most people want to stay in their house. There's a need and a want, what they need and what they want. A lot of times it's two different things. And as our role as an advocate, we're digging into that and trying to understand what does it really look like and you said some really good things like, there's probably 3 reasons you're not going to stay in the house. One is that because, there's too many memories. Every corner you turn, reminds you of John or what that looks like, and that's tough in itself. Secondly, most households, especially nowadays, work on with both people, maintaining the outside, the inside, and collaborating. And you don't now you have to hire someone to do that. Or third, you're just away from family. No one, being alone and by yourself and not close to family, that's a tough one too. And putting that into perspective. So yeah, I mean, I really love you sharing that. And you know, we're kind of winding down here. Any nuggets you want to throw out there, and in your experience and in your journey? Because I mean, you have such a incredible work ethic, and how you're growing your team. I mean, and I'll just throw this out there. This is a a plug for you. You got your AO, and you did not let your foot off the gas, which is cool. You're having more production, and you're building, and you're encouraging other people, and you have potential. An agency and another agency owner blooming in your organization. So kudos to you. So, anyways, any nuggets you want to throw out there?
Uh, yeah, so I would say, everybody has a why. And so and everybody fills out the paper or calls in the 800 number and follows the prompts because they want information. They have somebody in their mind or something in their mind that they want to protect. That's the reason why they filled it out. So it's our job as our professionals to help them find that why and to bring it out. So if you don't ask, you're never going to find it, and then you're just a regular salesperson. But that's not what we are here. We are advocates for our clients. We want to find them the best products for the best pricing with the best carriers, and we have the best carriers, and we want to get them approved also. So, ask the why. Don't be afraid of it. They're talking to you for a reason.
So I'm sure everyone's asking themselves, this girl does 90% on the phone, and she has a high show ratio. So let's just let the cat out of the bag. What's your tie down look like? How do you get them to show up?
So I say, like I said earlier, I'm the state appointed.
And by the way, I didn't mean to offend any cat owners.
Oh, that's okay. I have two. So I say, like I said earlier, I'm the state appointed field underwriter. And before COVID, the carriers would have me come out to your home to go over your options. And I just have to confirm your identity and make sure you're not, 800 pounds and dragging an oxygen tank behind you. But since COVID, they're allowing us to do everything either virtually over a Zoom or a regular phone call. Which would you prefer? And then 95% say phone call because nobody wants to get out of their pajamas anymore. So I say, okay, great. And, I go from there. And then I tell them, I said, so if I'm going to send you an email, it has a little bit about what to expect in the appointment. If for any reason, if you need to reschedule, if you wouldn't mind either emailing me back, you can text me or call me. I generally meet with between 8 and 10 families per day. So I'd like to be able to schedule another family in that time slot if we have to reschedule yours. So I would greatly appreciate that. And most of the time, all the time, they're like, oh yeah, sure. I get it. I understand. And that's my tie down.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Misty. And anything else in closing you want to say, and we'll wrap this up.
No, thank you everybody again for having us. It was nice to talk to you guys and see you guys at the Symmetry mini schedules and Denver.
Yeah. One part I want to add to this is that opportunity to associate live with people will accelerate your business tremendously. In fact, we didn't get a chance to talk about, but that was one of the pivoting points for your career, is that you turned a switch, and then that was 6 months prior to you going to your agency owner run, and then you haven't looked back since. So anyways, man, thank you everyone for the opportunity to be here, and we're just going to let the song finish while we close out.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Jump, rejoices, there's a party over here, a party over there, wave your hands in the air, shake the dairy, yeah. These 3 words when you're getting busy. Whoa.